Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. Sorry for being, 5 minutes late. I just got in. But yeah, this is the transfer tips video for Blank Gameweek 28. This is the buy, sell, hold, and ignore series. So we're gonna go through the players that you should be looking to bring into your team ahead of Game Week 28. So hope everyone is doing well. How you doing, Jordan? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. Hopefully, everyone else is having a nice start of the week as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. But yeah, let's get into the video and talk about the players that we recommend. First up on the list as a buy, and that is Ollie Watkins. Now, Ollie Watkins may be a popular move ahead of Game Week 28 due to the fact that he actually has a fixture. It's a pretty nice fixture against Bournemouth at home. We know Bournemouth did win against Liverpool on the weekend, but it's still a nice fixture for Watkins. And he also has a double game week in 29 where Haaland has a single against Liverpool. So you're essentially getting 3 fixtures for one Haaland fixture in the next 2 game weeks. So now there is a lot of people considering Haaland out for Watkins. I am one of those myself, just because I think Watkins should, we say should, he should outscore Haaland. Bournemouth, Chelsea, and Leicester v Haaland against Liverpool, 3-1. So that's the thinking behind bringing Watkins in. 25 appearances, 9 goals. He has been on a bit of a hot streak recently. Ollie Watkins scoring in multiple game weeks. I think he scored 5 in a row, and then he blanked, and then he scored again in game week 27. So yeah, Watkins is in a bit of form. Bournemouth looks like a nice fixture. He's 7.3 million. Ownership is at 9.5%. I can see that climbing higher as well. And yeah, I do like him for the double as well in 29. And obviously, because it's a blank, there's not many teams playing, and I think he's one of the better players you can go for. What's your thoughts on Watkins anyway, Jordan?
Yeah, I think Watkins is a very decent player to go for obviously to set you up for the double game week in 29 where he has Chelsea and Leicester away. And before that, he has probably the nicest fixture of game week 28, which is Bournemouth at home. And we've seen with Aston Villa's new manager Emery, they have improved quite a lot. Like we've seen significant improvement from players such as Watkins, who never really scored before Emery was actually managing Aston Villa. Now he's sort of back on scoring ways and is now being pretty consistent with returns and not and few blanks as well. So to buy Watkins in now, that will set you up nicely for obviously his double game week, and even after that, he has a nice fixture against Nottingham Forest at home. So he's a very valuable player that can provide you with a lot of points. I think, especially in that blank game week where Haaland, for example, doesn't play in, and for a forward position to fill that gap, I think Watkins is the right player for it.
Okay. So yeah, Ollie Watkins definitely on our watch lists for a potential transfer in ahead of obviously game week 28. Let's move on to the next player on the list as a buy, and that is Harry Kane. Of course, as you guys know, I already have Harry Kane in my team. I did bring him in on the wild card. So Harry Kane's having a really good season. You look at his stats, 27 appearances and 20 goals. So, he's on double figures, obviously goals, 20, very nice. Only, I think, 7 behind Haaland. 2 assists as well for Harry Kane, which is pretty decent. His expected goals per 90, 0.53, which is good. You look at game week 28, where he's got Southampton away, is a very nice fixture. We know a lot of players are blanking this week. Your Man United assets, your Liverpool assets, etc. Man City with Haaland. Harry Kane does look like one of the players that you'd probably want in your team for that Southampton fixture. His price is 11.7 million. Ownership's 38.5%. So he's owned by quite a lot of people. And yeah, he's just been scoring all season pretty much. And I've said many times, if it wasn't because of Haaland, a lot of us would probably be talking about Harry Kane a lot more with the goals he's returned so far. So he's having a really good season personally. And yeah, he's one that I'll be looking to probably bring in 28. And then you look at 29, he doesn't have a double, but he does have a decent fixture against Everton. And then obviously Brighton and Bournemouth after that looks okay as well. So Harry Kane is the second buy. What's your thoughts on it, Jordan? Because I know you wanted to bring Harry Kane in.
Yeah, I haven't owned Harry Kane once in my team this season, and just looking at his stats, 20 goals I've missed out on for not owning Harry Kane into my team. So, yeah, he is definitely a player I want to bring in now, rather sooner than later, I think, because there's still a lot to come. Obviously, for Harry Kane, for those 20 goals he's scored already, he's been on quite a good form in quite a consistent type of role as well for Spurs. And it seems like for Tottenham, most of the goals are coming from Kane only, and that's even more of a bonus because there's not really any other goal scorer that's been as consistent as Harry Kane has been this season. We usually see Son or Kulusevski sharing that sort of returning sort of pattern, but it all seems to be funneled through Kane this season because of obviously performance and injuries. But he has nice fixtures, Kane, even for a single game player. Even if you just bring them in for just one fixture, I think he's definitely a long-term hold as well if you're considering buying Kane because he's got nice clean fixtures. And even that game week 32 one with Newcastle away, I still think that's a good fixture for Harry Kane. And yeah, with Southampton away in game week 28 with the blank involved, that's a pretty good fixture to potentially captain Harry Kane if you wish to as well. But yeah, I see Harry Kane as a very valuable asset, whether you bring him in for one game week or for many game weeks onwards. Haas, I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was muted. Um, yeah, let's move on to game week 28 and obviously the sells that we have to discuss. So, the first player as a sell on our list, and it might be controversial, but he doesn't have a fixture this week, so he can't punish you guys. And that is Haaland. Haaland does blank in game week 28. Obviously, Man City don't have a fixture this week. And then in game week 29, he has Liverpool at home. FPL have it as a red fixture. Whether you guys think it's a red fixture is up to you. But he could be a potential sell because I'm actually, I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna sell Haaland this week. I'm gonna get rid of him for 28 because he doesn't play, and then in 29, Watkins has a double and he has Liverpool. So I'm gonna take the risk and the chance for his game against Liverpool and just hope he doesn't score too many goals, and then look to bring him back in game week 30 when he has Southampton away. So that is the current plan, to remove Haaland in 28 and then bring him back and probably captain him in game week 30. Don't really just discuss Haaland too much. I guess 28 goals in 26 appearances. He's been on fire this season, 5 assists as well. His underlying numbers are great, but as I said, he doesn't have a fixture and he only has a single fixture in against Liverpool in 29. So that's the reason why he's a sell. I'm probably going to be getting rid of him this week. Are you getting rid of him, Jordan, or you may go a different strategy? What's your thoughts on it?
No, I would definitely get rid of Haaland as he obviously does blank this week and he does take up a blank spot. And because other teams do blank as well, the benches will be full of other players. So yeah, Haaland's definitely sell for me. And it's a lot of freedom because we don't have to worry about Haaland's scary ownership of 82%, hurting
Mm.
our ranks. So yeah, it's a nice game week where we can pick and choose who we captain without wearing the risks.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, if you do sell Haaland, make sure you have enough money, guys. You leave enough money on the side to be able to bring him back in because obviously he's quite expensive. So you'll need to root back, assuming you want him for Southampton in game week 30. Moving on to the second sell of the game week, and that is his Man City teammate Kevin De Bruyne. Now, Kevin De Bruyne has 25 appearances, 4 goals and 12 assists. Now, Kevin De Bruyne is um, obviously another player that blanks. So for that reason alone, he's a sell for me. And even if he had a fixture, I would be contemplating actually getting rid of him for that price at 12.1 million. He's becoming similar like Salah, where he's not returning as often. And obviously for that price, maybe we can spend that money elsewhere. So even if he had a fixture, I'd probably look to get rid of him. Um, he started off the season on fire with a lot of assists, but he's been on 12 assists for a long time now, it feels. I don't know the last time he actually got an assist. It feels like a few game weeks ago. So I would be selling Haaland. I would be selling De Bruyne, obviously, due to the fact that there's no fixture in game week 28. His ownership is 25%, so he's quite highly owned. But yeah, he is a sell for me for obvious reasons, similar to Haaland. Would you agree, Jordan?
Yeah, I think his last benching in game week 27 showed that De Bruyne probably won't play as many or start as many games as he has, because obviously Man City are still in other competitions, and like tonight, Man City are playing tonight, so De Bruyne will probably play
Is he
in
starting
that
tonight?
game.
I think he will start Champions
Yeah,
League. I'm just gonna
because
double check.
I would think he will start because he was rested in the Premier League game.
Yeah, he does start today.
So there we go, guys. That's probably another reason why you could possibly sell De Bruyne. Maybe his minutes will be affected due to Man City's other competitions, and obviously they want to start players like De Bruyne in those, as it is as important as it is for the Premier League as well. And yeah, De Bruyne has dropped off quite a bit in terms of form. His 12 assists have really stood there for quite a while. They haven't really excelled since he was great on form. But yeah, it just looks like Haaland is pretty much getting the returns so far for Man City in recent game weeks. So and he has a blank as well, so it makes it quite easy as well to sell De Bruyne. And with that amount of money, it does give you the freedom to pick and choose who you transfer to. Obviously, 12.1 million. There's not many midfielders at that price range, and you can also splash the money elsewhere, upgrade players where need be. So it does give an open avenue for those who wish to bring some money into the team.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to some players that we think you could be looking to hold for game week or blank game week 28. First hold on the list is Marcus Rashford. Now, Marcus Rashford actually has a blank as well, so he will not play in game week 28. So you'll have to find space for him on the bench. But we still recommend that you bench him because you'll probably want him back in game week 29, which is a double game week 29, where he's got Newcastle and Brentford. Now, Newcastle Brentford might not be the easiest fixtures for United, especially with no Casemiro in those two games. But I'd still say you'd want Rashford for that double game week. So I wouldn't be looking to sell him. I'd just try keep him on the bench and you get him back for next week for that nice double. So 14 goals for Rashford and 3 assists. And yeah, he's cheap enough to bench 7.4 million. And even after the double, he's got some pretty nice fixtures against Everton and Forest. What's your thoughts, Jordan, on Rashford?
Yeah, myself, I have benched Rashford obviously for the blank, and I hope to play him in the double because obviously he could be potentially captain worthy. Despite the double being really tricky, Rashford has been quite on form during the season, and his 14 goals have proven that he can be a massive goal scorer despite the difficulty fixtures that he does have in front of him. But even after that, he does have nice fixtures in game week 30 and 31. So even holding Rashford long term is not a bad idea either. Despite Casemiro now banned for 4 matches, there is still potential that Rashford can still score in any of those fixtures. And obviously, he is playing 2 fixtures in double game week 29, and he is highly owned as well. And yeah, you just still want to hold on for Rashford to see what he could do in that double. And with that price as well, 7.4 million, I'll say that's pretty much a good good value for money with the full Rashford is in this season.
Mhm. Let's move on to the second hold, and that is Martin Odegaard. Now he's been transferred out by quite a few managers as well, surprisingly. Um, we know he doesn't have a double coming up anytime soon, so he doesn't double in game week 29, and maybe some people are looking to get rid of him. For game week 29, like I might get rid of Odegaard myself in game week 29 for someone like Bruno Fernandes who has a double. But I wouldn't get rid of Odegaard this week when he has a fixture against Palace at home as well. And Palace have been really poor recently. They've been struggling to get goals. So ahead of game week 28, I wouldn't be getting rid of Odegaard for sure. 26 appearances, 10 goals, 6 assists. If I had to pick my player of the season so far, obviously barring Haaland, now I'd probably say Odegaard's been the best player so far this season, just in terms of how he's been playing for Arsenal. So, you know, expected goals per 90, 0.3, expected assists per 90, 0.27 as well. His ownership is now above 30%. So a lot of managers do own him. 6.9 million. And yeah, he has a fixture in game week 28. So I don't know why you'd get rid of him when Palace have looked very toothless recently. So I think Odegaard's an easy hold for me. I wouldn't be getting rid of him. But that conversation might change in game week 29, where you have players like Maddison who double. You have players like Bruno Fernandes who double, that you may be tempted to get rid of him for a doubler where, he got Leeds at home and then Liverpool. So maybe, game week 29, he's a sell. But for now, 100% this game week, you want to keep him. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm an Odegaard owner myself, and even for that game in 29 fixture where some players double, I'm still gonna probably have Odegaard in that because we also have to consider also the single game week players may outscore some of the double game week players too.
Mm-hmm.
And Odegaard is potentially one of them. Like his 10 goals and 6 assists this season have proven that he's a very valuable return at 6.9 million. And with that fixture of Leeds at home, Leeds have conceded quite a few goals this season, and Arsenal at home are really, really up for it always. So yeah, I don't see why Odegaard should be really a player you sell. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
long term, he has great fixtures. I don't know if the Liverpool away one is potentially a red one, but the other fixtures, yeah, they're all good for Odegaard. Unless he gets injured or something like that, I probably won't be uh, getting rid of Odegaard. I'll probably keep him in your team and
Yeah.
see how he does long term.
Yeah, of course, I plan to hold Odegaard for 28. I do have him as well, but 29 maybe, as I said, he does look to be a potential sell for like a doubler instead of him. But yeah, let's move on to some ignores now. Now these are players that we think you should be looking to go without maybe, and these are popular players that are being transferred in. So the first person as an ignore, and that is Luke Shaw. Um, Luke Shaw does blank in game week 28, so no fixture. And then in 29, obviously he has a double. Maybe you look to bring Luke Shaw in game week 29. I might actually bring Luke Shaw into my team in double game week 29 because he's got Newcastle and Brentford. But, I think it's too early bringing him in this week because he doesn't play. So, of course, you should wait at least a week before you bring it in. So that's easy. We're not going to spend too much time on this one. Luke Shaw's a good buy next week, not this week. So, yeah, he's an easy ignore. Yeah, let's move on swiftly to the second ignore on our list, and that actually is McAllister. Now, McAllister's actually been transferred in by quite a few managers still, even though he doesn't actually have a fixture in game week 28. As we know with Brighton, they do blank in 28, but they do have a very nice double in game week 29 against Brentford and Bournemouth. I actually have double Brighton attack, so I own Mitoma and Solly March. Maybe with hindsight, I maybe should have went McAllister, but he's a bit more expensive than Solly March at 5.5 million. I do think if I was picking right now, I would probably pick Mitoma and McAllister. If I had to pick now, maybe if I was in a wild card 28. But either way, March is also a good pick. But yeah, McAllister is an ignore, of course, obvious reasons. He doesn't have a fixture in 28. But definitely, if you don't have enough Brighton assets, maybe you've got one. And if you want to double up on Brighton, I think McAllister definitely is the way to go. His underlying numbers are pretty decent. Expected goals per 90, 0.38. He's got 7 goals and the assist. We know he's on penalties. He's playing a bit further forward now after Lallana's injury. So his expected goal involvement is actually higher than Mitoma's and Solly March's. So if you like the stats, McAllister is probably the one to pick. And as I said, on penalties is a big thing as well. So yeah, I do like McAllister as a pick. And even, if you want to take a differential captain punt in double game week 29, maybe you could throw a captain's armband on him. Who knows? But yeah, McAllister is an ignore for 28, but definitely one to bring in if you don't have enough Brighton assets in game week 29 when he doubles. Would you agree, Jordan? Or what's your take on it in terms of the Brighton assets?
Yeah, absolutely. McAllister has proven himself to be a a valuable asset to bring in to your midfield. In terms of the Brighton ones, he is a bit of a bonus as well because he's on penalties, as we've spoken about. And he's worth it for that double game week 29. Brentford home and Bournemouth away seem like 2 good fixtures for McAllister, because even if he just gets a penalty in that and scores, that's points for him, obviously, in one of those game weeks. So he doesn't even have to score from open play. He can just score from a penalty if it is given to him. But in the long term run, Brighton's fixtures do swing very much into the very difficult area. So we'll be interested to see whether we hold on to Brighton, obviously, after that double.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, after 30, fixtures do turn slightly. So we'll have to decide what we do with the Brighton assets after that. But yeah, let's recap as well, as always. So the 2 buys for blank game week 28 is Watkins and Harry Kane. Haaland and De Bruyne are sells for game week 28. You should hold on to Rashford and Odegaard, and you should look to ignore Luke Shaw and McAllister. So those are the 8 players we've picked. So let us know what you guys think with our picks. Do you like the picks or do you disagree? Do you agree? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you are enjoying the content, make sure you smash that like button, guys. As always, really appreciate it. And also, if you can, please share the video on your socials as well. We're going to read a few comments out and then we'll wrap the stream up. We've got Elliot says free hit or wild card this game week. Definitely not free hit. I don't think it's worth a free hit this week. I would be saving the free hit for maybe game week 32, maybe even next week when there's a big double. But wild card definitely could be an option. I think if your team needs a wild card, I don't think a wild card is a bad idea because it can set you up for next week. If you've got a bench boost, for example, I'm bench boosting in game week 29, so game week 28, you could technically set your wild card up to bench boost in 29, maybe is a thought, but it depends on your team. It's hard to say, obviously, without knowing what team you have in that sense. But yeah, I'd try save the free hit if I think for sure, rather than doing it in a blank game week. Dan, evening guys. Evening. Hope you're well. I think there's a question here from Alex. For me, Haas, me and you have the same team. I'm thinking Haaland to Watkins. Yep, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that move. March to Madison. Then game week 29, Saka to McAllister, Kane to Solanke for -4. Game week 30, Tony to Haaland. Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about Madison in previous streams. You could look to bring him in. I do like Madison's double, if I'm being honest, but I don't know if I'll be bringing him in because I don't want to take many hits. Because I've set my team up, I've wildcarded to bench boost. I want to try and get through the next couple games without taking a hit. I don't know if Kane, Solanke, I don't know. I feel like Kane's one of those players that can outscore Solanke in a double. So I don't know about that one. But yes, McAllister is a player that you'd want. Watkins, of course. I think he's a good pick for the next 2 game weeks as well. Mitoma, Rashford, Haaland, bench. For me, it says Tom, too much value tied up. Also, Jordan, you could take this question. Is Tony a good captain pick? for game week 28 or blank game week 28. Um, just get the fixtures for you if you want. So, obviously Tony plays Leicester at home. Um, so it's not the easiest game, but we know Brentford are better at home. What's your thoughts on game week 28? I mean, you might want to look at the other fixtures as well. Would you be captaining Tony?
He's a potential captain pick, Tony, for blank game with 28. For Leicester home fixture, yeah, of course, Brentford at home are much better compared to their away form, as we've spoken about. They've only won twice away this season, and they did lose in game week 27 to, I can't remember who it was to.
Everton, wasn't it? 1-0.
Oh, yeah, Everton 1-0. So that just proves that Tony away for Brentford not greatest. So really, he would have to benefit from Leicester home fixture, but he is a good captain, I think, still Tony, because he's on penalties as well. So he doesn't have to score from open play, similar to McAllister. He can score from just a penalty if it's given to Brentford.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a good captain pick for 28, Ali.
Yeah, for me, obviously, I've captained Tony in game week 27. I don't think I'm going to captain Tony in 28 because I like Arsenal, Saka, Odegaard, those type of players because Arsenal do play Palace at home on a Sunday as well. So I think Arsenal might be popular. Any of their players really, Martinelli, even if you have him to be different, if you're chasing rank. Other standout fixtures, you got Spurs. I think Harry Kane is a better captain option than Tony. I think he's not even in my top three, I would say, Tony. So not for me, if I'm being honest. Kane, Saka, captain picks. Yeah, Philip, I agree with this sentiment more. I'd rather go with players like Kane and Saka, who have nice fixtures over Tony. Last question, I think, from Dan. I'm going to take a hit this week, and the final player I can't choose between is Chilwell or Almiron. Thoughts, guys? Will change formation depending on who. I would go with. I mean, I'm just going to take a look at Newcastle's fixtures. So Newcastle, I'm not going Forest in 28, which is a nice fixture, and their double is against Man United and West Ham. So the fixtures they're not that bad. You know, they've got Man United at home. So depending on if you think they can beat Man United, West Ham is away in 29 as well, and then Forest is also away in 28. But with Chelsea, just quickly see who Chelsea have again. But Chelsea play Everton and Aston Villa, and then Liverpool. So I would prefer Chilwell over Almiron. I think. Yeah, I think I'd prefer Chilwell personally, but I know you might go Almiron, Jordan. I think you might prefer someone else. What's your thoughts? I think the reason why I prefer Chilwell is just because I'll just explain. I think I can see Chelsea picking up a clean sheet in the next two games, maybe at least one clean sheet in the next two. So Everton at home, you never know, they can keep a clean sheet in that game because Everton don't score many goals. Aston Villa at home, maybe not, maybe no clean sheet, but I can see, as we saw with Chilwell, he has picked up a goal in recent weeks as well. So maybe an attacking return. And then obviously Liverpool as well in game week 29, and that's a home fixture for Chelsea. Liverpool have been very poor away from home, so you never know. Chelsea could keep Liverpool locked in that game week 29 double game week. So I prefer Chilwell. But look, Almiron, after a succession of blanks, Almiron has picked up a winner against Wolves, so he's in people's thoughts again. But for me, it's Chilwell.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably go for Almiron myself if I had to choose. I'm not quite sure if I want to go Chilwell or Chelsea yet because obviously rotation that's still massive in Chelsea's bloated team as well. And Chilwell as well is one of those players that can relapse an injury like Reece James.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to those circumstances, even though Amram was benched against that Wolves game, he did come on and score. And I feel like Amram is for me. I'll probably go to him even when he doesn't play. He's a potential goal scorer, despite his many blanks. He can have a spark of wonderful niceness for Newcastle if he is to get in the right position and score.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, Almiron has obviously scored a winner. He should start now, you assume, but yeah, I think Chilwell might be a transfer in for me anyway this week, but we'll have to see. You'll have to tune into the team selection video on Thursday. And yeah, that is the next time we're back. So Thursday, team selection video, and then Friday it is the deadline stream because it is a Friday deadline. But we're going to wrap it up just over half an hour. If you haven't already, make sure you do smash that like button. If you have enjoyed the content, like, subscribe, and also share the video if you can. That's it from the FPL Duo. We hope you enjoyed the transfer tip video. And yeah, hope to see you guys on Thursday. Anything else you'd like to add, Jordan, before we go?
Yeah, thanks you guys for watching throughout the streams. Always appreciated. And we'll see you Thursday for the team selection. So enjoy the rest of your week until then.
Yep. See you Thursday. And yeah, stay safe, guys. Take care.